like different nachos.
All right, hello. You're listening to the Nerd Edification Hour on Alternation Radio. I'm Caleb.
And I'm Rachel.
And I'm Jeremy.
And... Wait, did I say that right?
And?
No, did I say...
Three letters. I'm pretty sure you can work that one out.
Did
It's
I
not
say
Japanese.
AM? I might have said AM. I don't know. Anyway, I was just trying to...
Off to a great start.
The AM got shut off, so I'm trying to... Did I say AM by accident?
I don't know. No. You're listening to Alternation Radio, though.
Okay.
It's
Good.
just on HD3 now instead of the AM.
All right, just making sure. Cool.
I'm still here.
In today's show, we're talking about movie news and television news. Because there's actually a bunch of that.
There's a
going on.
lot.
Yeah.
And we got your video game news with your Nintendo news all mixed in there.
Nintendo.
And then we got the what?
Nothing.
What do you? Oh.
Okay.
Then we got your nerd vocab and technology news and things
We have
like
a lot
that.
today. A lot.
Yeah,
happened.
it's a pretty good bit.
It's a good week. It's definitely a good week.
All right, so so let's see, Jeremy, what's going on? What's happening?
Well, starting off, Steven Spielberg says Indiana Jones 5 will star Harrison Ford. Just months after producer Kathleen Kennedy confirmed that there were plans for a fifth Indiana Jones film, director Steven Spielberg has released some more details on who will star in the titular role. In an interview with Yahoo, Spielberg said he would be teaming up with franchise veteran Harrison Ford for the new installment. And he was quoted saying, "Now I'll probably do an Indy 5 with Harrison, so it'll be 5 for Harrison, 4 for Tom." The director said, alluding to the fact that he would have done 5 movies with Harrison Ford and only 4 movies with longtime collaborator Tom Hanks.
What if they just put Tom Hanks in the Harrison in the next Indy film? How about that?
He needs to be like a pilot and a delivery guy.
Yes.
Just to show
He needs
up.
to be both of them. He needs to have 2 roles and then Indy going, "Wait a minute, weren't you?" Nah.
The time wouldn't fit, but they could even somehow fit in a little joke. Like, no,
Yeah.
I'm sure they could.
Crash somewhere. Not again.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is kind of nice. I'm curious how they're going to go with it because a lot of people really did not like the last Indiana Jones film. I did kind of
It was
for the
all
reason
right.
that it took place in the 1950s.
Yeah.
So that was the height of they were starting like the UFOs and stuff like that. So when they do the movies, they're kind of a piece of that time period.
Right.
Where they had the Nazis and the earlier ones, and it kind of moved on to different ones. So it kind of fit. It was campy. I mean, seriously, the refrigerator was probably really bad, and the monkeys. But I mean, they could only go from there. So I'm wondering how this would be. Would it be, the 50s, the 60s? I mean,
Well, I mean,
then you got the Cold War starting.
it would probably if this is to be the last Indiana Jones film, which I mean, the last one was supposed to be the last one, but like you said, it wasn't a good send out. If so I guess this would be a good send out where maybe at the end it kind of bequeaths the next Indiana.
Well, they tried kind of hinting at that for Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah,
and
but
he's lost his mind. So
Well, yeah, Shia,
moving on.
Shia LaBeouf lost his marbles, so yeah. But
just do it.
But yeah, speaking of kind of older series, I suppose.
Yeah,
the
this
decade
blew my mind. 'Cause I'm
This-
probably the only one here that remembers watching
In
it.
the new era of remakes.
Yeah, like literally
We
remakes,
have-
reboots, and sequels are all over the place right now. But
wow.
Mattel and Solipsist Films are teaming up to bring the 1980s animated series Dino Riders to the big screen. Talk about a throwback.
The big screen, but I
You
remember.
guys had to look this up to figure out what it was, didn't you?
No,
I kind of knew what it was.
kinda.
I kind of did because
I knew what like Dragon Riders and those other.
No.
Oh, that's way later.
That's
Is that
way
way
later.
later?
Company.
Okay.
Yeah.
see.
No, Dino
know.
Riders is completely different. I have seen a few episodes when they did some reruns and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where I have a love for older cartoons, as it were. So, but here are the details on kind of the Dino Riders mythology, if you're interested in it.
Mythos, yeah.
Yeah, as laid out by the tracking board's report. In a futuristic war, the evolved human race, known as the Valorians, are trying to save the galaxy from
Krulos.
and his army of mixed species Rulons.
Yep.
In an effort to escape a Rulon onslaught, Questar, the leader of the Valorians, turns on a machine that takes them all back in time to prehistoric Earth. Once there, the war continues with the Valorians using their psychic abilities to convince dinosaurs to aid them. And the Rulons are using machinery to enslave dinosaurs to fight for them. The franchise was created by Jerry and Carla Conway. Yes, that's the same Jerry Conway who created The Punisher for Marvel Comics. Now, what's really interesting, though, the only reason, like the primary reason that they even created this animated series was to sell the toys.
Oh, yeah. They sold the toys, all right. I still have some.
So, and that's what actually a lot of 80s cartoons were.
Which kind of crushes my hopes and dreams. Kind of like, oh... That's kind of depressing.
I mean, but that's how the primarily...
We got cool toys out of it,
well, no,
right?
see, that's how primarily a lot of the cartoons in the 80s were born. So if the toys didn't exist or the toys didn't sell, you wouldn't get those cartoons. So think about how many cartoons wouldn't exist now because of
Transformers,
the toys.
G.I. Joe, Silverhawks. No one else here knows that.
Hold on.
No, I think the only 80s cartoon that didn't...
Voltron? Is that...
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually have one of those. I have the main lion.
Now, it was the late 80s, but I think
that's all I have,
Which series?
I think
the original one or the newer one?
I think it was the first one.
Nice.
Now, it was the late 80s, but I think the only 80s cartoons that I know that existed that didn't exist to sell toys was Beetlejuice. So that's just me.
That sold toys too, though.
Yes, it did.
So
but it wasn't created because the toy line existed.
Yeah, but a lot of those, they would make them and they kept changing stuff and they would just push the toy line with it. Because I remember even seeing the commercial.
Oh, there are some cool toys for that, though. But yeah, no, I think that's really cool. And I think it's great that I think it's kind of cool that they're trying to bring back stuff like that. So.
I think Caleb has a question.
What?
No, I don't have a question. I just want to read the next
Okay,
one.
go ahead.
I want to attempt to read it because there are no Japanese names, and I'm going to hold it very close because I think I might need glasses. Legendary and Warner Brothers have confirmed yesterday that they will be combining the Godzilla and King Kong franchises so that they occupy one shared Marvel-like universe. What?
Okay, let me ask the question.
This is getting out of hand.
Let me ask. This is to the folks. No, this is to the folks at Legendary and Warner Bros. Are you drunk?
Okay, Marvel pulled it off. Not everybody has to pull it off.
Just because Marvel did it doesn't mean that everyone has to.
We need the Nerd Edification Hour. We need a cinematic universe.
Are we going to combine it with SensePath and make one podcast universe?
We are opening a can of worms here, folks.
Yeah, I'm not going to show up unless our lawyers make an agreement.
Kyle, you're my lawyer. So,
he just gave you the dirtiest look. Oh my God.
Wow.
But anyway.
So other giant monsters beyond those two titans will also be in the mix as well, which is like, I don't know if King Kong has villains, but like...
There were some, mostly people.
Mostly giant snake. Okay, yeah, people.
Yeah.
The plane. So, all-powerful monsters become towering heroes for a new generation, revealing a mythology that brings together Godzilla and the legendaries King Kong in an ecosystem of other giant super species, both classic and new.
Mothra
should be in there.
Should be in there.
Mothra was originally its own thing. It got brought in with Godzilla, so...
So, says a pre-release from the companies. Monarch, the human organization that uncovered Godzilla in the 2015 film, will expand their mission across multiple releases.
So basically, this says to me is that the organization Monarch is going to go find Godzilla. The organization Monarch is going to go find Mothra, and so on and so forth. And then things are going to happen, and everybody's going to fight each other. And I feel like I'm watching that Captain America movie where everything is destroyed.
Just to continue their streak of originality, not copying Marvel, we'll probably see Monarch Agents of Monarch show up later as a TV show.
Oh my
God!
I'm done. I'm done. Goodbye. I'm leaving.
They'll just go after the baby monsters on there, the lower cost. The big ones will be saved for the movies.
No, and it's going to be like a really campy, low tier team that does it, that makes a lot of mistakes. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Kind of like a buddy cop movie.
We should have destroyed the alien egg, but instead Destroya is going to come out and destroy everything.
Oh my God.
That's what Destroya does. If you don't know who Destroya is, he's one of the more sinister monsters
Well-
Godzilla has to fight. I don't see how King Kong's gonna. I mean, unless he has some kind of radiation suit, I don't see how he's gonna.
We pretty much have to just play with a sense of scale. It's what they did when they had the Godzilla and King Kong face off, because King Kong was only like 50 feet tall. He was technically nothing compared to Godzilla. It would literally be like this Yoshi to me.
So
I was like, oh, so cute. Godzilla just eats it.
All right, so let's move on to the next one.
ooh, this next bit of news is so exciting.
Do you want to do it? You want me to?
Oh, we can both do it.
Okay, go for it.
Go right ahead.
All right. If you noticed, in neither of the first two Star Wars The Force Awakens trailers, did you see the Disney logo anywhere?
Yes.
Each opened with the classic Lucasfilm fanfare, but according to Chairman and CEO of the Walt Disney Company, Bob Iger, you won't be seeing the official the Disney logo in front of the Force Awakens when you see it in theaters either.
Yeah, many fans have noticed noted that it's going to be awkward to see an official Star Wars movie without the 20th Century Fox logo and fanfare before the film.
Yes, it will.
With Disney's iconic Cinderella's castle logo, assumedly in its place, but like I said, that's not going to happen.
All of a sudden, we're just going to see lightsabers start clashing on the balcony of the castle.
While you may miss the pomp and circumstance of Alfred Newman's classic fanfare, you won't have to see the Disney logo, as he said. It's really, really cool that they did that. This information came from when Iger spoke to a group of students at Ithaca College's Roy H. Park School of Communications, which is actually his alma mater, via Skype on October 7th. While he obviously couldn't talk much about the film itself, Star Wars Force Awakens, he did tell them that there was going to be no logo. And when asked why, he replied, "For the fans."
Aww.
So,
Nice. Now, mind you, when this eventually comes out on Blu-ray, while there won't be the Disney Castle, there will be like half an hour of Disney show trailers you have to watch. And so they're going to get you, trust me.
A la every single Disney-related movie or owned franchise ever released.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember the even on DVDs? It did it on obviously
doing it on VHS.
No, on the VHSs,
That was worse.
but no, like my favorite thing is when you have a trailer and it's all nice and kind of quiet or nice and normal, and then it has the "coming soon to you" on DVD video, and it's like blaring through the speakers, and you're just like, "Oh my god!"
My brother
and
loves those.
you only get like half a second to turn it down, and it's makes me laugh
Lord.
every time.
Every time.
Every
Yes.
Every
time.
time it lives.
All right, what's next?
Oh, Marvel and Fox.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Oh, okay.
Take it away.
Marvel and Fox might have some clear definitions regarding the appearances of characters on the big screen, but it seems that it's a different story for television.
Oh.
Television rights for the X-Men have been an issue between the companies for years, which Vulture notes is likely the reason why no spin-off series has been attempted up to this point. I'm guessing that doesn't really count. They've done multiple animated series between that time, but now it seems that something is given way, and Fox is bringing some X-Men-related series to the small screen. Don't expect to see larger characters like Wolverine ripping people apart with his claws or the tales of a young Storm learning to use her powers. Instead, we're getting off into a total side story territory, which, some of the little side teams, things like that, kind of wandering off from the main universe.
Makes sense. Jubilee. There you go.
Yeah, well, no, there is a more info on this, but the rest of the info didn't get posted into our script.
Right.
Basically, they
Are they going to tie this in with the actual movies at some point?
I don't know yet. I mean, they've been trying to do that with Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but we all know how
they've
that's
done really well.
But at first it wasn't obvious unless
first season was bad.
unless you looked at a guide online to explain the
and they released an
references.
actual graphic showing, watch these episodes, watch this movie, watch these episodes, watch this movie.
I'm pulling up more info because they specifically mention specific things on what they're going to do with
season
the
one.
spin-off.
I was like, I have to look this up. Who is this person? Oh,
They treat it a lot like, for the comic book fans out there, you have the big events like, this like the Infinity Gauntlet that this is kind of going towards, and there was always these little side issues or side stories, and they'd be like, continue reading it, on this issue, and that's what the shows have become.
They noted this. Fox announced the news via press release, and I think a company or a user or something named Vulture provided some extra tidbits.
Gotcha.
The first series is called Legion, which received a pilot order by the FX network. It'll follow the trials and tribulations of the possibly superpowered superpowered young man named David Haller, who in Marvel's Comics Tales is an ultra-powerful son of Professor X. In the show, he's apparently been diagnosed as a schizophrenic, but after a strange encounter with a fellow patient, he's confronted with the possibility that the voices he hears and the visions he sees might be real. The second series is in development, and the working title is... Tighter. I can't talk today. Is Hellfire. It follows a young special agent who learns that a power-hungry woman with extraordinary abilities is working for a clandestine society of millionaires known as the Hellfire Club. Now, if you know of anything about the Hellfire stuff, and actually it's named after another totally unrelated
Hunchback
thing.
in Notre Dame, right?
Well, yes,
that one song?
But no, the Hellfire Club in, I think, the X-Men continuity kind of is named after an older book called Murder in the Hellfire Club, which the cover itself involves Benjamin Franklin riding a lightning bolt, and that's all I'm going to say because it's really interesting. But anyway,
wow.
Well, it's more of it's a lot of the more powerful people and eventually became mutants that were controlling it, kind of the decadent lifestyle of how they'd be, where they could do as they wanted.
Right.
And they could try and use that to sway the way society would go over the years.
Well, here's the thing, though. As for the Hellfire Club series, as we're going to say, we did see them in X-Men First Class. So this could be connected to that in a way, which is really cool because then we get to learn more about them in general. And honestly, people need to know more about them because they're connected to almost every X-Men character anyway, because Azazel's involved in that, and Azazel is Nightcrawler's father, and he's also the father of 15 other mutants. And there's this one part in the comics where he summons them all together to open this portal to the underworld, and it's really complicated.
They'd have to go back and kind of backtrack because they would have killed him in the movies.
Well...
you see parts of him. I mean, he's dead.
Yeah.
They showed him, what was it, Banshee? They showed parts of him, a couple of the other ones. The other thing, a lot of with the Hellfire Club, they were all kind of ranked almost like a chessboard.
Right.
They had equal sides to it. So you had, White Queen, Black Queen, you kind of go from there to show rank, and then they balanced each other out by each being either the white or the black version.
Right.
So.
But I always take the deaths in the X-Men related films with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm
we could just undo it with time travel.
But exactly. But as most fans know, in regards to Legion, Legion is actually the character who eventually ends up traveling back in time to kill Magneto in order to help his father, and eventually ends up killing him instead, which sparks the entire Age of Apocalypse storyline. Literally, the X-Men universe is so complicated that I think some of the original people who worked on the comic series just go shake their heads sometimes whenever they're asked about it. Man, we don't know. You best be off reading the wiki.
Claremont's just I'm done.
I'm done. Yeah. No, but it's really complicated. It has a lot of info coming out, so I'm hoping to know more about that soon.
So I know nothing about.
I'm actually excited about that.
I'm really excited about this.
I've never.
I grew up with this.
Seen it. So
40 years.
I want to do that.
40 years since Monty Python and the Holy Grail first arrived on cinema screens around the world. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Scott doesn't believe it. Scott doesn't.
Dang it, Scott. Why don't you believe it? I don't understand. So, Rachel or Jeremy, because I can't read this with excitement like either of you two.
Go ahead.
Because you two
Yes.
probably
Go ahead,
know.
Jeremy.
For all of the other nerdy fans of my age, remember, it's been 40 years since Monty Python and the Holy Grail first arrived on cinema screens around the world, but the endlessly quotable comedy classic still has some secrets up its sleeves.
It does.
To celebrate the film's 40th anniversary, a new Blu-ray edition of Monty Python and the Holy Grail is hitting stores, and it comes packed with some never-before-seen deleted scenes. The scenes, all of which are from the characteristically bizarre animated sections created by wonderfully intelligent Terry Gilliam, has now been placed online with additional narration by Gilliam himself. Although the clips themselves are rather short, Gilliam's commentary, plus the return of some Python-esque humor, certainly makes it worth watching.
I think one of the comments he made in it was they didn't use my animation because they wanted to stifle the creativity of an upcoming animation artist. I'm not even joking. I think that's what he said. And he said it in the most snide way possible.
Everything they put their hands on has been some of the funniest stuff. I have the Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch. Amanda, my wife, found one. It's a stuffed version. It's life-size.
Yeah.
I never even took it out of the box because even the box itself is covered in some some of the funniest things I've read.
Yeah.
Just about this, and it sits in my house.
You know, speaking of this sort of humor, they're trying to turn Time Bandits into a TV series, which, wow.
Okay, I'm curious how that could go.
And I'm just like, wow, what's next? Are they going to turn The Adventures of Baron von Munchausen into a TV series? Because that would be great. It's kind of like the older, like it reminds me in a weird way of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. But
although Baron von Munchausen, that's actually one of the earlier films I remember seeing Robin Williams in when I was a
yes,
kid.
he was the King of the Moon.
Whose head would fly around.
Yeah, his head would detach.
Wow.
Because he wanted to separate himself from his body so he wouldn't have to worry about the needs of that side. And he could just be an intellectual and his body fought with him constantly.
Yes.
That's all I can say on the air.
Yes, and apparently he was a terrible man when he was connected to his body.
Yes,
no,
he
it was bad. But yeah, that's all of our movie and TV.
Yeah, I'm ridiculously excited about some more Monty Python.
That's so great. I love that movie.
All right. Well, that's that section out of the way. And next up, we'll have your video game and your Nintendo news.
Inevitably.
Oh, should we also quickly, just since we talked about it earlier, answer the question of a group of nerds?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
it was brought up earlier. We heard someone asking what a group of nerds was called.
And it was suggested that maybe a gaggle was what it is.
Right, and I decided, Crow's kind of a funny, it's a murder of nerds.
We're a murder of nerds.
We're a murder of nerds.
A murder of nerds.
Yeah.
So during our break, we're going to play, let's see, hold on. Lee Marvin Ward. I see the screen is so far away when I have to put it down.
Do you want to borrow my glasses?
Warden Star. Lee Marvin Warden Star. Quiet, Kyle.
And we will be right back. You're listening to HD3, The Alternation. And we have returned here on HD3, The Alternation. You're listening to the Nerd Edification Hour. I am Rachel, and I have next to me my friend...
Jeremy.
And then in front of us we have...
The not friend, Caleb.
You're all my friends. Excuse you.
Well, you're like, here's my friend, Jeremy.
Not according to him, apparently.
Yeah, apparently he doesn't think so. So, I don't know.
No.
You don't know what my thoughts are.
You don't know my life.
Sometimes I wonder if you know your own thoughts.
Okay, so Blizzard.
Angst.
Blizzard's a big company. They do quite a lot.
It's also a storm.
Yes, you're correct. They have announced,
It's also a tasty treat.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Ooh, yeah.
But Blizzard has announced that the beta test for its upcoming competitive shooter, Overwatch, is going to launch later this month on October 27th.
Woohoo!
So shortly before Halloween.
Yay!
It's going to run for a undetermined amount of time. It's just going to run until they feel like ending it, I guess.
Pretty much.
30, 45 minutes.
And it's going to feature 18 heroes and 7 maps. That's quite a lot of heroes.
Fun.
Quite a lot of options.
Nice.
It's more than three classes.
I'm not
Destiny.
big on the whole competitive side. I'm just going to be the one to go on there and troll around.
So you still
probably.
playing Splatoon?
That's
Yes.
that's pretty much what I do on any online sort of thing. Is I just kind of walk around and joke around. I don't really do anything competitive on there. You can ask my main fire team on Destiny. You can ask all of them. What does Rachel do? She's comedic relief. That's pretty much going to be their answer. How did you die? I don't know. But yeah. So
That's great.
So their beta is going to be open. So that'll be interesting. Something to do on your week of Halloween, if you're not out like in costume at some party or something.
You know.
Or
like
taking
me.
kids out.
Right, or taking kids out trick-or-treating.
That's what I get to do.
That's part of life. But it's always fun.
No, it's enjoyable. It's quite funny.
But, and actually this little bit of news this next bit is something I'm excited about myself, since I love the Phoenix.
You can go
You
right
want to continue on with
ahead.
it?
I will.
You gave me Monty Python, so I'll let you have it.
Yeah. But do you guys like the Phoenix Wright series?
Have every one of them.
I haven't played Dual Destinies yet, but mainly it's because I'm trying to get through an emulator of Miles Edgeworth 2 before I do that, because they never released the second Miles Edgeworth here in the States.
Gotcha.
and they're probably not going to release the other one, the one that's where it's back in the day with Sherlock Holmes. And
I thought they announced that for a U.S. release.
No, not that I know of. They never did. They released it in Japan or they're going to release it in Japan. It might already be out, but they never confirmed a Western release. They did actually confirm a Western release for the next one, which is Ace Attorney 6.
To the internet.
Yeah. However, though, it seems that Phoenix Wright is not going to be the sole protagonist in this game, though. If you have played the games, you are familiar with Apollo Justice, which is kind of the fella he trained, as it were, his protege.
I have no idea.
He's sharing the spotlight with him. Alongside this, it was also revealed that prosecutor Gaspin Payne, who appeared in Dual Destinies, which is one of their more recent titles in the main series, is going to be making an appearance. In this, basically the synopsis, kind of the synopsis of the game is Phoenix Wright will meet this prosecutor in the Crane Kingdom, which is going to be the setting of the game, which is interesting because the Crane, it has to do with one of his assistants, the psychic girl. That's her family name, or
Gotcha.
the name of the village where her family lives. And so that's interesting. I'm wondering if there's a connection between that. But the game is said to be going to be released in Japan sometime next year. A Western release is confirmed, but no set date has been announced. So I, for one, really like these games because they're kind of like the old point-and-click adventures that you could play on the computer, but the writing is absolutely hilarious. It's still hilarious. When they were first being released, I guess the people who dubbed it and the people who wrote the lines for the English editions would basically they had to take out all the jokes that had to do with Japanese culture and stuff like that because a lot of them didn't translate well. So you see a lot of the scenes have to do with, the bento boxes that they have over there for lunch and all that. But like it talks about hamburgers and hot dogs. And there's this one part where they're questioning like a clown. And the clown, I think I might have told this story before, the clown actually does a kind of a reworded version of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air rap to go with the scene he saw. So it's really great. A lot of pop culture.
The whole series has had an interesting history because it was originally a Game Boy Advance game in Japan, and then we got it ported over as a DS title.
Yep.
Where they added in, that's why like the last couple missions are so different because they could do the new stuff. And it just kind of flourished from there, and now you can get it what's on mobile phones and other stuff on there as well. So
really, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they've. I know they have like iOS versions, I think. Anyways,
so
yeah.
Moving on. So who here is excited about Pokemon Go? I mean,
I am. I mean, it's.
I'm getting there.
It's really great. I mean, we're as with most of our video game news, we're passing into the inevitable Nintendo section.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like
You're still welcome.
It's like we're passing the equator or the what's the dateline? International dateline, or we're passing the Halo Cline. You know what that is? It's where salt and fresh water mix.
Yeah.
There's a bit of science for you if you didn't know that.
But Pokemon Go, what's new about it?
So last month, the Pokemon Company surprised and delighted everyone by announcing Pokemon Go, a mobile game that lets you capture and battle Pokemon in the real world with augmented reality. This exciting game is getting a lot more attention than an average mobile title, and Nintendo even is helping to develop it.
It's cool because, this is going to be one of the first times that Nintendo is going to be attached to a mobile title that is on cell phones without it being their own thing. Now, they have already begun work or getting ready to announce one of their first mobile titles.
Yeah, they said there's actually been an announcement for that with DNA. Supposed to be announced very, very soon, actually, probably within a few days, hopefully.
Yep.
Right after the show.
It would be our luck, yeah.
So yesterday, we have learned that it's also very financed.
Yeah, very well financed.
Developer
like ridiculously.
Niantic. I can't read. He has announced via press release that it has raised its series a financial round from three sources. The Pokemon Company, Nintendo,
Series A financing,
and Google is actually in on this too.
Yep.
Get
Well,
all
I'm
in
not
there.
surprised.
Yeah, I'm not
I'm
either.
really not because
Google Earth.
with Google
that.
Earth, with the Google Street View and stuff like that, a lot of it's going to be probably they've based the Pokemon Go app thing itself is probably based how it looks at stuff, and they've what it did is probably looking for
Well,
stuff on
Niantic
Google Maps.
worked with Google on stuff like this before and helped develop a lot of that
So
stuff.
this
is kind of them returning the favor.
Yeah, and I mean, they probably developed this initial concept from when they did that Pokemon thing on Google Maps. So,
That
So,
lovely April
do you
Fool's
guys
joke.
actually? Do you want to know how much funding this thing has gotten?
oh yeah, I
right.
heard it's a lot of money.
So this funding includes a whopping, hold on, $20 million.
God. Up front, mind you. Up
front.
That's all at once.
And
not
another
little here, not
another
little
10
there.
million has a condition upon achieving certain milestones.
Yeah, that is
Do your homework, wash the dishes, and we'll have another $10 million for you.
but to kind of, 20 million is a lot of money anyway, but it's an unusually high amount of money for a mobile game.
Which you know what that means? Microtransactions.
Not
out
necessarily
of the
part of
wazoo.
this. They're also, you got to take into account, it's not just the game itself, but integration with the 3D data, the maps. You also have to take into account the development and connection of the watch accessory.
Yeah.
That's going to take some money to make that work properly with it and kind of integrate. So there's a few things it's doing that's much different from normal, but that's still $20 million.
And I love how our Captain Pessimist of the station always assumes microtransactions.
There will be microtransactions in there. You know this.
I think they've already said there will be. I mean,
Yes,
of some
You know
sort.
this
But-
to be true.
But it's going to be what it's probably going to do is
There'll be microtransactions within the microtransactions.
No, look. Micro for how I foresee it is, microtransactions can be the whole. Okay, well, this Pokemon is, you've run out of potions. Do you want to go ahead and restock your potions now, as opposed to finding potions or waiting for your Pokemon's health to recharge?
I'm kind of wondering if I'm a little worried if they go the route like they did with Pokemon Shuffle.
Yeah.
Well, you can try and catch this many Pokemon a day. If you happen to run out of it and you run into a Pokemon, you can't do anything with it. When they moved that over to mobile, they did get notably worse about microtransactions. They pushed it even harder.
Yeah.
Which I think hopefully they've reverted back on, but
I played it the other day on my 3DS, and I didn't really
that one
notice
they didn't
anything.
change.
Yeah.
Well, that one they didn't change. It was just a mobile one.
Ah.
Yeah. You have, I think, less tries, and it doesn't refresh as much, and it kind of really pushes towards having you have to pay for them. So.
But yeah, that's interesting, and we'll report more on that as it develops.
So Jeremy.
No, you got the
me?
Zelda stuff.
Okay,
Go.
all right. Yes,
I want the next
my
one.
precious scarf.
So-
All right, you can have the next one. So, a Nintendo fan did a little digging in the Wii U eShop's backend and found mounting evidence that an HD re-release of The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess is in the works. It all started when an icon for Twilight Princess was found in the system, leading some to suspect an emulated port could be on the way. Now, however, Nintendo's eShop servers have started showing a listing for Twilight Princess HD, suggesting a full remastering could be on the cards. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about this because, hold on.
Seriously?
Well,
That's awesome.
Look.
I think it's great.
But I still have a copy of Twilight Princess. I only got Majora's Mask because I didn't have a copy of it. So I don't know if I'll be. Unless they add new stuff
No,
to
Majora's
it.
Mask, they did a complete overhaul.
Yeah,
It
no,
was
it's-
beautifully done with that remake.
No, Twilight Princess in itself is very pretty in its own right because it's it's more realistic of all the Zelda games. It's a lot more realistic looking. It's a lot darker tones.
Which is funny how it was built on the exact same engine from Wind Waker.
Yeah. But I don't think, and we already saw what Wind Waker looked like in glorious HD.
Because they said,
it's gonna
here you go.
it's gonna look good. A lot of the glitches that were in there are gonna be well.
I don't remember.
Oh,
much.
I've glitched through the map several times on Twilight Princess.
Really?
But that's mainly because probably I was on the GameCube edition. But
I
don't
was
know.
on the GameCube edition.
I don't know.
I never
I played it
felt
on both.
at all.
I never had a problem with either one.
Yeah.
It was like
Except
a
for
weird.
getting myself backwards, where I'd be like, oh, I got to go left. Oh, wait, different version. It's right this time.
Oh no, it was a weird instance. Yeah, it was just weird instances at some points. But no, it's
It happens.
yeah, it happens in games. You clip through the map, it happens.
No clip.
But yeah, while the dude was looking, and there's like a list of the things.
Yeah.
And then there's a bunch of like Wii titles and stuff.
Yeah.
But none of them had HD on it, but Twilight Princess specifically had HD in the title.
I could see it as being done because remember, and sorry to cut you off.
It's fine.
When they were doing the Wind Waker HD, they talked about that they did multiple games. They did Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, and Wind Waker in HD to see how they would look.
Yeah.
And Wind Waker had the biggest oomph to how the changes were. You really saw the bloom and everything.
Right.
So they've already started working on the engine for that. Now, with them having to delay Zelda and now also Star Fox, it makes sense. They're kind of going, okay, let's finish this up and we can put a digital release of it out to kind of tide you over. It's like, here's, this earlier game. And another note for it is people were wondering, does this mean maybe they are changing the graphical style for Zelda U and they're kind of going more towards this style now?
Who knows? I mean, it's really up in the air at this point.
Yeah, we don't know.
There's too many variables. There's way too many variables, and
it's an algebra nightmare.
Yeah,
Ew, I don't like algebra. It's gross.
but I mean, Nintendo's been playing with the idea of with emulation for a long time. I mean, they do have some Wii stuff on there, kind of virtually. Like they put.
I have the Metroid Prime trilogy.
Yep.
They put Mario Galaxy on there. There's a number of games.
They
Punch Out.
they played with a few different things, but they've also talked about, I think last year, or the year before, one of their team members mentioned GameCube emulation.
I'm still waiting.
Yeah, and one of the first titles that was talked about was, of course, Super Mario Sunshine. But that, and some people have tried to test it and stuff like that, and it's just, yeah. But it's a lot of variables, and I think the passing of Iwata was particularly hard on them, and it's going to take.
Well, I've noticed
time.
a lot of leaks and things like that have happened that did not happen before.
Yeah.
And a lot of announcements that would have been directs have just been kind of put out there.
Yeah.
Like the way that the Mario Maker level for Smash Brothers was put out.
Right.
That would have been, a surprise announcement in a direct, and it's just like, oh, here it is.
It would have involved bananas, I'm sure. But
Good old Iwata.
yeah. So I know, Jeremy, you're really excited about this next.
So
part.
here's another announcement that came out of the weirdest place, actually. We're talking about not a direct. So Nintendo's new...
What was it? What was the place?
The Wall Street Journal.
Wall Street Journal reporting on a Nintendo thing. That's just...
I don't think any of them at the Wall Street Journal play video games, honestly.
Actually, they have a gaming area. Don't look at me like that.
Weird.
I'm serious.
That is not where I would announce anything.
I'm old enough to know the Wall Street Journal. So, Nintendo's new 2016 gaming machine will be a console and a handheld, according to reports in today's Wall Street Journal. According to the paper, the exact shape of the NX hardware isn't yet clear. People familiar with the development plan said Nintendo would likely include both a console and at least one mobile unit that could either be in conjunction with the console or taken on the road for separate use. They also said Nintendo would aim to put industry-leading chips in the NX device after criticism that the Wii U's capabilities didn't match those of competitors. The paper's report also states that Nintendo has begun distributing a software development kit, or SDK for a lot of people that want to know, for the NX platform. So there's
which means it's already being tested.
Well, I mean, they always put out early versions of the SDK way before the console comes out.
Oh, yeah.
I remember with the N64, there's developers talking about they're having to kind of juggle what they thought the final specs would be. I remember Rare had an interview talking about GoldenEye, where they were running it and they're like, okay, we hope this is what it's going to be, and it ended up being, okay, we don't have enough video memory, so we had to drop the textures, but it could run faster. I mean, just different things like that.
Yeah.
It's a moving target.
This is a way for developers to prepare for the release of this new thing.
Well, they can at least start.
Yeah, it gives them an idea of this is what we think that you guys are going to be working with now. So any ideas they already have in the work, it gives them a baseline to work on. It could be better. It could be worse down the line. Who knows? It depends on how development goes and how many years they have to spend on it.
Yeah, Nintendo had a kind of a history, like with the Wii and even the Wii U, they were kind of like, all right, we're going to have these a little bit higher end, not as high as the other ones, but some of the higher ones in regards to like processors and so forth. And then in the last little bit, kind of cut it back or trimmed it. And I'm hoping now that they can push that a little bit more. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, I find it intriguing that they've actually possibly merged the portables and the console versions, the console systems. This was hinted at because even before Iwata's death, they had actually combined together both of those departments. The portable and the consoles used to be separate departments.
Yes.
So
Yes, but I think it's going to be interesting because what they're prospecting is, it's going to be a mobile unit attached to an actual console. So when you're at home, you can play it on your TV connected to the whatever unit is connected to your TV, but you can also take it with you, which is cool in a sense, especially cool for those who travel a lot and stuff like that, or if you're on a family trip and your kids want to play
Woolly World.
Yeah, I mean, different things like that.
It opens up a lot of doors, and I'm really glad that they're doing this. And then they're going to have industry-leading chips, which means the graphical capabilities are going to be either on par or above what's currently out there. Probably on par.
People would probably still complain. I've had no problems with the Wii U.
I
like
haven't
how it
either.
looks. It's a beautiful system. But, and this is just my speculation, if they could put more power in the home version and almost do kind of like how PC gaming is designed to scale.
Yes.
Where you could have like a more portable version of the Wii U's capabilities in the controller or whatever you want to have for that, and then have the more powerful home equipment with it, so you can kind of scale it as you go. So they could have the new chipset and existing chipset already in there, and they keep their backwards compatibility.
Yeah. It's a lot of doors, and this is all we know right now. They
I want
haven't
Directs back
We'll get them back
because we won't know about this until probably next E3.
We sign up for Direct. We can do it. Right? we can host a Direct, right? We just have to put bananas.
We're gonna bring it into our universe.
Okay, so Caleb, what's our next song, real quick, before we get into our last section here?
Well, it's one that you wanted. I know Kyle had another song, but you know what, Kyle? We'll save your next song for next week. Don't let me forget, because Rachel, I'm trying to give everybody even. I'm sorry.
He made you pizza cake.
I know. He made me pizza cake.
Go right ahead.
So it's the Struts, Could Have Been Me. And
It's a
we'll
great
be
song.
Right back here on Alternation Radio on the Nerd Edification Hour.
All right, welcome back to the Nerd Edification Hour here on Alternation Radio. I'm Jeremy, and to my left,
I'm Rachel, and then in front of me is
Caleb. Oh, yes.
Technically both
Kyle
right.
moved his Link statue
He did.
to...
with an awkwardly tiny
a
sword.
really tiny sword.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. But
You're killing me, Kyle.
Jeremy, what's the nerd vocab for today?
Oh, I guess it is me. Okay.
Go ahead.
Nerd vocab for this week is Icarus. Classical mythology, a youth who attempted to escape from Crete with wings of wax and feathers, but flew so high that his wings melted from the heat of the sun, and he plunged to his death in the sea. It's also in astronomy an asteroid whose eccentric orbit brings it closer to the sun than any other known asteroid, and also a Smash Brothers character my friend hates to play.
No, speaking of Pitch...
I didn't know that asteroids could be eccentric.
Yes, but... Anyways, so
Einstein.
Hold on. An interesting little thing. So you know how you mentioned Icarus's wings burning up?
Yeah.
Well, Kid Icarus, if he flies for longer than 5 minutes, his wings start to burn up.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Based off Icarus.
Just if you didn't get that reference,
it's the mythology that's supposed to teach you not to aim to push so much that you end up burning yourself. Basically,
don't aim too high or you'll get burned.
Right.
But
in other words.
Pit. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but and the reason why this is our nerd vocab is because DARPA is launching a project called Icarus. It's they're developing drones capable of vanishing into thin air after delivering their payload to remote regions, like literally invisibility cloak drones.
I'm just seeing his run with that cloak over it.
Yeah, but the agency envisions a number of scenarios where they could use this device. Troops can deliver food and medical supplies to difficult-to-reach disaster-affected regions and not have to worry about recovering the vehicles. The single-use drones can also shuttle supplies to remote military units and vaporize without a trace. Cool.
Yeah.
Vanishing delivery vehicles could extend military and civilian operational capabilities in extenuating circumstances where there is currently no means to provide additional support. According to the program manager, Troy Olson, DARPA is actually seeking proposals for this $8 million, 26-month long 2-phase program. Like it's the systems must span no more than 3 meters and fully vanish within 4 hours of payload delivery or within 30 minutes of morning twilight. Other requirements include being capable of dropping a 3-pound payload within 10 meters of the target and cover a lateral distance of more than 150 kilometers when released from a height of 35,000 feet. Basically, I think the article in which this was originally placed called them vampire drones because they disappear. They explode or vanish or vaporize in once light appears.
To evaporate.
So it's going to these will be night drones and stuff like that. Some drones are cool, some drones are scary. This is a little bit of both. But I guess people
depends on how this is going to be used.
If you have an idea, you can propose it to DARPA.
There you go. Yeah. If you can make a computer that also vaporizes in the sunlight, you could just
I can think of a couple of I can think of a couple of engineering students that might be like, that sounds fun. So Jeremy's one.
I may have ideas, but
yeah, and
that's between me.
Speaking of sciencey stuff, there's someone trying to make computer coding classes a requirement for high school graduation. Jeremy, why don't you tell us a little bit more about that? Okay. Or does Caleb? Who wants to talk about coding? And I will just fall asleep.
I'm the one who's doing the coding classes and for it. All right. So Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel called on the federal government to make computer coding classes a requirement of high school graduation. Emanuel, who previously served as President Obama's chief of staff, predicted that if this adjustment is made it a national priority, a host of other education policy decisions would fall into place around it. So just make it a requirement, he said, during a tech policy event sponsored by the Washington Post. I am fine with the Common Core. I'm not.
I'm not.
We adopted it in the city, one of the first cities to do it. I'm great, but you need this skill national policy. Basically, he's making computer coding classes a requirement, which computer coding is kind of like, I know there's one thing going on right now, especially at this college, where they're trying to make like programming classes, you count as like a language class.
Yeah, because it is a language. Technically a language, yeah.
That would be so helpful because I don't think I could learn Spanish or French, and that's all we offer here. I don't think I could learn those.
Yeah.
See, I've already done Spanish and Latin, so.
Yeah.
So if you're in Chicago, you're probably having to learn computer class, which would
be useful because then you could know more about how your computer works.
Yeah, I'm just more worried about the kids who won't get it because not a lot of people are.
Well, there's also such a wide, just like languages in the world, there's so many different types of programming languages of which kind they'll stick with. Mm-hmm. You can do everything from basic up to C.
They're probably, when he's speaking about high school, they'll probably start with the most basic of basic coding.
Even with that,
then they'll offer more advanced stuff, like almost like having like an advanced language course. Mm-hmm. That's what I think, at least. But all
right, last minute of the show. Go ahead, Rachel. What do you got?
This is a weird bit of stuff. In Britain, you're no longer to ride one of those balancing scooters around because, according to their laws, personal transporters like Segways are classified as motor vehicles, so they're subject to traffic laws. So you need a license in order to be able to drive them. Yeah.
But you can't ride them on the sidewalk.
You can't even ride them on the sidewalk. You have to ride them in the street.
So you can ride it only in your driveway,
donuts in your living room,
yard. Yeah, pretty much.
Well, that's interesting.
But that's only in Britain. But something like that might happen here in the States.
But yep, that's. We ended it on a weird note, but that's our show for today.
That's gonna be it. And I'm gonna time this for 10 seconds and. Thank you for listening to the Nerd Edification Hour. And until next week, stay fancy and all that.
Bye.
Peace.